Welcome into Tuesday, everyone. Hope everybody had a great weekend and your week started well. Mondays sometimes can be a little trying. But today we wanted to do a segment on what's right. Is it right? And by that, I mean, what's right for your child? Is your child at the right facility? Saying that because summer is coming, so everybody's thinking about summer camp. After summer, everybody's going to be thinking about after-school places. And you're also thinking about other things like their extracurricular activities. If they're at a dance facility, a tumbling facility, if they are doing basketball or baseball or soccer, or any of those types of activities, martial arts, any of those places at all, is your child at the right place? Now, as far as what your child enjoys, the type of activity, that it be, dance, tumbling, martial arts, football, whatever it may be, you and your child know that the best. So that's really not what we're talking about here. It is the staff themselves, the facility itself, and the policies and procedures that they have in place for you as a parent and for your child. How do you know if it's the right place? There are a few questions that you want to ask, a few things that you want to know for yourself. Whether you ask on the phone, you go by the facility, you talk to other parents, whatever it may be. So there's a few things that it should be very important to you. Number one is the safety of whatever it may be. So if it's a facility where kids are going in and out, ask things like, do the kids or do the parents have to check the kids in and out? Is there a way to keep up with when they've come and when they're going? If they're being driven anywhere, does the place check driving records? Is there a transportation policy around cell phone use? Is there a radio policy around if they can listen to the radio? Is it only certain stations? Can it only be certain types of music depending on the age of the children that are in the car? What is their policy? If they're going on field trips, how do they know that all the children go and all the children come back? There are things that can be put into place that all the staff should know that help to keep the kids safe. When somebody comes in to pick up your child, if the staff does not personally know that person already, are they asking for an ID, and are they checking it against a list that they have of who is allowed to pick your child up? And if the person doesn't have an ID or they're not on the list, are they letting the child go with them? What is their policy around that, and how do they handle that as well? If it's an activity, for example, say like baseball or football, where maybe they're really not going into a specific facility, into a place where it's conducive for parents to sign in and sign out, and kids not to be able to go out the door unless a parent comes in to pick them up. What is the policy? Do the parent or the parents required to walk them up to the field or to the place where they're going to be practicing? Excuse me. Do they have to walk back up to get the child, or are the kids just released and they take off running out into the parking lots? If it is to where that, yes, the parents do have to walk up, does the coach and any assistants, do they take the time to get to know the parents and the people who are normally dropping off and picking up the children, so they would know it's a strange person that I don't really know over here with this child? Let me go over here and have a conversation and find out who this person is and what's going on and maybe why they're here. That sort of thing. How involved are they with the other adults that are typically there in an effort to keep your child as safe as possible? Do they let the kids take off running through the parking lots? Whether it's a facility where the kids can go out the door, or whether it's something more open like a soccer field or something of that nature, are the kids just allowed to take off if they see their parents? Are they just allowed to take off through the parking lots or out the doors, things like that? Because kids don't pay attention. They can get hit. They can get run over in parking lots. So you do want a place and an activity that is making sure that their adult staff is paying attention to who's around, should they be there, and keeping the kids from running out into parking lots and areas and that kind of thing, because we do want, as parents, we want to make sure that safety is everybody's number one concern. We want the staff to be professional and be trained. By professional, I mean they should always greet the parents, be professional in any communications that they have with them. Be professional with the kids, have fun and be silly, but also remain at a professional level at all times with the kids. Being trained. That does not mean that you have to be a world champion at whatever particular activity it is if you're going to be coaching or teaching. It means that you absolutely need to love being around kids. That it is a passion, it is something that you want to do, because a lot of the other things can be taught, they can be learned. But loving your job is not something that can be taught or learned. Some of the things that you may want to try to find out as far as what they've been trained on is prompting good behavior at various different ages. Are they trained in the developmental needs and stages of the kids that they're teaching every day? Because any activity, any extracurricular activity can foster not only their physical well-being, but it can also foster their social, emotional, and intellectual needs. If the coaches and the staff are trained properly in how to sort of get this going in the brain while the kids are participating in the activities. Do they know anything about some of the dose that we just talked about, some of the different brain chemicals, some of the feel-good ones versus the stress chemicals? It doesn't mean that anybody needs to be a neuroscientist or psychologist in order to deal with kids, but there's a lot of information out there that can be used to train staff and that people can read so that they know how to get the best out of children without screaming, yelling, hollering, jumping up and down, and increasing our amount of stress chemicals. That's what we want to keep down. We want to use good behavior, high fives, increasing the feel-good chemicals to get our kids to do the best and make them feel great about themselves versus increasing their stress chemicals. We want our kids to enjoy what they do, which sometimes here as well means that us as parents have to keep ourselves calm when our kids are out playing and maybe they didn't have the best game, and maybe we think the coach made a wrong call at taking them out of the game, but we want to model to our kids the way to properly handle this, which is also going to decrease their amount of stress chemicals if we're all acting like we have sense at the games and their activities as well. One last thing that you may want to think about talking to the staff or the facility about their policies and procedures is communication with the parents. No parent wants every little thing to be told, because then you would just dread going to pick your child up, because the staff or the coach would always be saying, well, your kid did this, and your kid did this, and then they did this, and then they did that. No parent wants to hear all of that. The coach and the staff, they are there just to simply deal with certain things and to keep the kids moving in a forward direction. But if something is parent-worthy, it is something that you would need to know about as a parent. What is their policy for making sure that the parent receives that communication? Be it some sort of physical accident that happened, be it some sort of behavior that the child chose to engage in that maybe wasn't the best choice. How are they going to communicate that with you? Do they have a policy for that? Do they have a procedure for that? And do they normally follow it and make sure that you are aware? As parents, one of the last things we want to do is have to hear from our child that they were involved in some sort of accident and got hurt, or they got in trouble for certain types of behavior that we felt like we should have known about, so we can also have conversations with our kids. So we do want to make sure of that. And please do, just as a quick side note, most places do have a policy that they have to protect everybody's privacy. and they're not going to tell you the names of the other children involved. When your child goes home with you, if they choose to tell you the names of other students or other participants, then that's fine. That's completely between you and your child. Just remember that the staff typically cannot tell you the names of anybody else involved. It not only protects the privacy of the other child, but it also protects your child's privacy. Because if they were telling you the name of the other kids involved, well, guess what? Then they're telling the other parents the name of your child. And sometimes that just creates really bad situations. So just keep that in mind. I hope that as summer is coming, you're choosing different activities for your child. You're choosing summer camp. You're choosing different things that they may be involved in over the summer. And then we're going back into the school year with other extracurricular activities and after school as well, that this is of some help to you. Again, this is nothing that you as a parent do not already know. It's just reminders. Sometimes we just need to be that village and we need to support one another. And we just need simple reminders of some of the things that we want to do before we go drop our kids off with adults. Speaking of that, one thing that I did want to mention, I mentioned about the driving checks for transportation. The staff that's watching your children, are they adults or is it kids watching kids? And for adults, do they have background checks? Not that that's going to prevent everything that could happen, but it is very important in knowing if that person has been involved in activities that would make it inappropriate for them to deal with children. So you may want to ask that question as well. Again, if you have any particular questions, if there's anything we can do to help you out, please do not hesitate to give us a call. We are here for all parents, not just the parents who have students here at Skills for Kids, but we're here for all parents to be of any help that we can as a supporter and participant in our local community. Again, you can give us a call or text at 336-270-6825, or you can email us at skillsforkids, SKILLZ, the number 4, kids, KIDZ, at outlook.com. I hope you have a great rest of your Tuesday and your week.